Hey everybody, this is Brian Knowlton with HowToEarnMoney.TV. It doesn't matter if you've never made a dime online before. Through my step-by-step video tutorials and interviews with industry experts, I'm going to show you how you can make money online. In this episode, I'm going to tell you a little bit more information about my current income revenue stream, AppraiserIncome.com. And this is one of my best ones right now. I still have a ton of different streams coming in and they all add up to a nice sum. But this was one of my first blogs where I really started from scratch, really took my time to build it up, didn't know which direction I was going to take it in, and then really started to get more into affiliate marketing, figuring out how I could actually monetize the website, and it's been a huge success, especially over the past couple of years. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about AppraiserIncome.com. You can bring it up on your computer if you're there right now and kind of look around. It's not a super flashy, it's not even super clean, it's a little bit cluttered. I never really did a huge amount of updating to the template since I started it quite a long time ago. So keep that in mind. Appraisers are not a very tech-savvy group of individuals, and I've found that sometimes having a website that looks almost amateurish helps with your sales. I once had a website back in around late 90s, and it had a really amateurish feel and look to it, and that site was raking in the dough. So I got it professionally redesigned. I still had all the links in primarily the same area. It just looked a lot cleaner and a lot more professional. Had some really nice looking graphics and stuff on it as well. And my sales dropped almost in half. It was crazy. And it kind of went towards people, the common man type guys, and I think I discouraged some of them or turned them off from where it was a really amateurish looking website to more of a pro looking corporate website. I think with the same as AppraiserIncome.com, people see me and they're able to identify with me since I am a real estate appraiser, and they don't know necessarily that I am a professional internet marketer. So I think this kind of benefits me in this situation. It might not be the case 100%. I haven't really spent the time that I should to really dig down and optimize this website. I could probably squeeze out another 25% or more of orders based on the traffic that I'm receiving and the amount of time that people stay on the website reading through the articles. I really feel that I should be able to close more sales, but it's working great in the meantime, and I'm kind of more focused on developing this Your Boss Blows channel and network. And so I will be getting back to this, but I'm also, my main focus of marketing on this website right now is mainly to get as many affiliates as possible to sign up with me and to either put my advertisements in their printed magazines or put my advertisements up on their website. And the best thing that's working for me right now is if a vendor has a mailing list, if I could get them to promote my product or products directly to their mailing list, I could not only build up my mailing list at the same time, but also split whatever sales I make with them. And that's been working really well, and I'll go into that a little bit in the future. But what I did was back in 2000, it was probably 2003 or 2004, I got AppraiserIncome.com, and I was an appraiser at about 4 years at that point, and it was a great industry. I mean, there was tons of work out there. I was telling everyone I knew, you should become a real estate appraiser. You'll really enjoy this type of work. I mean, if you're into real estate. And it was just great being outside, being able to do what I want, set my own schedule, and it was nice to be able to learn how to value properties, value real estate for my own investments. And a lot of my friends are also into real estate as well, so Everyone I spoke to, people that were, suffering at the time after the .com bust like I did, I was telling them, you should look into becoming an appraiser. People that I was appraising their houses and they're going through bankruptcy or anything like that, and they would ask me, how's it to be an appraiser? And I'd say, oh, it's great being an appraiser, you should look into it. And so I decided at one point to write an ebook laying out all the steps involved on how to become a real estate appraiser. And it was nothing that you couldn't find through research on the internet, and it wasn't super difficult, but I got the question so many times off of my appraiser income blog that I decided, I'm going to create a product and sell it to people that are interested, so I don't have to keep on sending out the same information or the list of websites and whatever. That it'd probably cut back on some time. And at that time on appraiserincome.com, it was mainly just a couple news articles. I didn't make it personal at all. It just kind of sat there. And so when I got the product up, I put some new news articles up. I didn't rewrite them or anything, just copied and pasted them and referred to who the news article came from. I still didn't make it personal, but it still received enough traffic to be able to make like probably $500 to $1,000 a month selling that ebook. And it went on for a few years. About 2008, 2009, the industry really started to change, and you had to have a 4-year degree now to become an appraiser, and you had to go through all this additional classes, and there's a lot of really good things put into effect, but at the same time all the work started to come from appraisal management companies. And to become an appraiser, you have to be a trainee for about a year, and you have to work under a mentor who will teach you really the ropes of the business. You learn a bunch in all the classes, but you really get the experience by working under the mentor. And it's a requirement. You have to do like 2,300 hours of work under a mentor. These appraisal management companies wouldn't allow the use of trainees. So it pretty much closed out any new appraisers that are trying to enter the field, because the appraisal management companies were now controlling the appraisal orders for all mortgages and refinances and purchases for those transactions. And I'll go into that in a little bit. So I decided to make the product free. I was like, I'm going to give this thing away at this point, and I put a note up there saying my views have changed towards entering the appraisal field at this point until further changes are made with how trainees can be utilized. It's a dying profession. I mean, they're probably going to get rid of the use of appraisers at some point altogether, use computer valuation models or something, who knows. But the reason I'm telling you about this is that by focusing on a little niche, I was still able to build up that traffic. It was a fairly smaller segment of people looking for information on becoming an appraiser. But there was still a fair amount of people, and they had money to spend for that information. They didn't have the time or the skills to locate that information for themselves. So, it was a good ebook that I created, and I gave additional value, like an appraiser checklist, told them how they should take their photos, common errors to avoid, how to get a mentor. There's a lot of additional information that I knew about by going through it myself. So if you have an area of expertise where you think people would be willing to pay for that information, and it's a fairly large market, not super tiny micro niche, then you mostly have, you could duplicate exactly what I've done with appraiser income. You don't have to be an expert, but it's definitely a lot easier if you are an expert in that area or you have a lot of knowledge about that. But it could be anything that you're into. It could be a hobby, it could be just your interest, it could be your passion, What do you normally find yourself talking about when you meet up with friends or when you meet someone new? What do you usually talk about? Sometimes there's a common area that you might cover. Me, I'm just a sucker for real estate. Real estate's always in the news. I love real estate. I could talk your ear off about real estate. But it all depends what your passion is. That's mine. But another one of my crazy passions is metal detecting and meteorite hunting and gold detecting, and I just like the desert, so anything I could do other than just walk around the desert floor and pick up rocks, even though I do love doing that, I just like doing that type of stuff. So anyhow, if you have a passion though that you have a lot of information about, that you read magazines and books and search online for stuff, that would be a good blog. I really feel that I could write a very good blog on metal detecting or, hunting for gold or meteorites. And it's fairly popular right now, especially with the way gold prices are going. And I could easily monetize that website with all of the tools and equipment and detectors and books that people that have that hobby are into. It's kind of an expensive hobby, so it would be a good blog to produce. I just don't have the time to do that right now. I might do something like that in one of the future episodes when it comes to creating a website completely from scratch. But I haven't decided, which website I want to create for that project, because that's pretty long-term commitment and I want to do it right, and I really want to show you how easy it is to get started. I don't know if there's a ton of metal detector affiliate programs out there. I'm sure there's quite a few metal detectors I could purchase and resell myself, and there might be some low-quality metal detectors that you could get through like a buy.com or target.com and just take advantage of their affiliate plans and stuff. So anyhow, what I did specifically on Appraise Your Income, you could do this. It's not the biggest market in the world, but by focusing on them, they could easily find me when searching for related appraisal news and things along that line. When the appraisal management companies moved into the playing field, that was a completely different game. And to continue being an appraiser, you had to work with these appraisal management companies to get those orders for refinances and purchases. It's essentially a vendor list. All appraisers needed some type of vendor list or to do the research themselves to find as many of these appraisal management companies. And every industry has something like that. If you're in construction or carpeting or a painter or something, there's always you could always locate a vendor list of suppliers, property management companies. There's tons of products and services that cater towards those types of businesses. And if you're new to entering that area, you're going to want to get on the internet and get that information as quickly as possible. And you'll be willing to pay for it, especially if it's going to help your business. If you have a bike repair company, there could be a huge list of vendors for just bicycle parts, but then there could be a whole new list of vendors for really customizable products. What I did, and even at the time that I decided to start creating my own list, I had no intention to resell it. My intention was to stay in business. And so what I did was I started going, this is back when I was in Arizona fixing up a rental property. I was planning on retiring out there, but just can't live in Arizona. I love it out there. I love the desert, but nothing beats the beach, baby. So I had to come back. But while I was out there, this is when those changes went down. And I had to find these appraisal management companies as quickly as possible Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to make my 2 mortgages that I had at the time, and all my nice built-up debt and whatever else I had going on. So it was a very stressful time, but I just said, okay, at this point I'm going to have to hit the pavement, pick up my phone, start making some phone calls, and find as many appraisal management companies as possible. So I started calling appraisers around the country and asking them, how are they getting their work? What appraisal management companies are they using? And I made sure to call appraisers that were located outside of Arizona. Just, called all my friends first that were appraisers. They're now out of business, unfortunately. But at that time, they were getting some work trickling in. So I first started by calling all them. And then I'd call people, appraisers right out of the phone book, right off of Google, excuse me, and asking them and exchanging information. So they would give me some of the AMCs that they were using, which is appraisal management companies, and I'd give them some of mine. And I'd do that all day long. And then what I started to do was I built up a list. I could still do appraisals for companies that were doing FHA appraisals, and I could still do bankruptcy and divorce and date of death type appraisals for people. So I made a big list in Google with company names and addresses in Maricopa County, which is a huge area, has Phoenix in it. And I just started driving around. I made a map in Google so I could go from one location to the next, to the next, to the next. And I just went door to door. And if anyone was using an appraisal management company, I got the name of the company, who they were sending their appraisal request to get fulfilled by local appraisers. And I built up a huge list that way. That compiled with doing the phone calls, sending out emails, doing searches on the internet. I just built up a very good list of appraisal management companies. And I started getting flooded with work. I mean, I had more work that I could handle, and it was great because, at that time I was a new business. I was starting a new business in Arizona, and I had my existing company still in California. Occasionally I'd drive out to California to do like $1,000 appraisal because I didn't want to just give that to one of my friends or something at the time. I needed the money. And then I showed my directory to my friends, and they're like, wow, this is really great. Thank you very much. You should sell this. And I was like, oh, yeah, I should put that on my blog. And so I went on my blog, and I created a sales page, threw it up there, and I was making sales from time to time, nothing huge. It was decent. Originally, I only offered a book version. Let me grab one here, or a few. Originally, I had this book version because I was worried that if people got the book, they could easily duplicate it, and that wouldn't be good. So this is the directory. In the beginning, what sets my list aside from other companies is that I put information on how to get more orders from appraisal management companies, errors to avoid, some marketing information, how to get more internet business. I mean, I put a little bit of information in the beginning of it. I have built it up since the original product went out. But this is the 2011. I think the first one, I don't even remember, is 2008, 2009. And so anyhow, I wasn't selling a huge amount of them off of appraiser income. I was doing fairly okay, and I just thought, it's just not selling too well. So I was doing more and more marketing and more research, and just trying to, build up information on the website, but I still never made it personal. I really kept it super salesy. I just reprinted news, and then I started to get frustrated. And as I got frustrated and started posting that information to my website about how the appraisal industry is just going down the tubes because these appraisal management companies are now starting to undercut fees. Before, when they first came out, it was like the standard appraisal fee. Now they were offering less than 50%. Then it was down to like 25% in some cases. And most appraisers just turned down the work. But a lot of appraisers had to take it because that's all they could do. And so I started blogging more about it on my website, and people were getting more and more involved. And people would come back to my blog frequently to see what I was talking about or ranting about. And then I occasionally would say, you know, in my appraisal management company directory, I list the top 40 companies that send me the most work first. And they're national companies, so if they have the most work in my area, most likely they're going to have the same work in your area. I'm so sure that my list will get you work because I am. Anyone that buys this book, any appraiser that buys this book for $100, if they go through and they sign up to at least even the top 40, it will definitely make them much wealthier. But if they go through the whole list, they'll do very well. Most appraisers are struggling these days to get work. And so from the very beginning I said, if you don't get work from this, you call me up and you tell me, Brian, I'm not getting any work from that appraisal management company directory that you sold me. I'd like my money back. So just do that. I put my phone number up there, and it's never happened. Never had one refund. I've had tons of letters from people saying, this completely changed my business. This was a lifesaver. And you know, it's all it really is a directory of companies that I did a lot of research to locate them, and I keep it updated. And now companies contact me from time to time saying, how can I get in your directory? But you could duplicate this easily. If you're passionate about something and you show your passion, one of the biggest changes that really influenced the sales on my website was I wrote this little article, and it's just called a little bit about me, and I explain the situation of me moving to Arizona and how work completely dried up, and I was on the verge of bankruptcy. I had 2 mortgages, all that stuff, and appraisers really connected with me, and they really trusted me, and I would share my information on what I did to use appraisal management companies, how I found them. I'd give out some information for free. I'm also way into internet marketing, so I'd make some posts about internet marketing. If you know about internet marketing, then you should easily be able to sell internet marketing information to a small niche of people, small group or subset of people, like painters. You could tell painters all day long how to get more business. You'll do well. So anyhow, I started to do that, and my sales just started to go through the roof. You know, the more involved I got, the more sales I received. It was amazing. It was just like opening the floodgates, and orders started flowing in. And so I really feel that my product adds value. And I was thinking, how can I really get this out there? My website went from getting maybe 50, 100, 200 hits a month to anywhere from 300 to 500 a day. And I was doing more and more marketing. I started saying, okay, I'm going to get this out to as many appraisers as possible. So I went to LinkedIn, and I created a profile there, and I'd start posting to groups about appraisal management companies and getting more work and marketing, internet marketing for appraiser, just getting involved in the groups, LinkedIn, the forums. And this isn't taking a huge amount of time. This is like max half hour a day, if that. I mean, maybe an hour or 2 a week, even if that. It's not something I committed full time to because I was a full-time appraiser. I guess I still am a full-time appraiser. I put doing appraisals usually in front of everything else when I can. So it really made a huge difference in my business. And when I started to consider that it could easily double the income of me being an appraiser, I started to take it, way more seriously. I started writing for magazines, which is fairly simple. I contacted an industry magazine and said I'd be interested in writing some articles for your appraisers on getting more state work, more AMC work. So I got those published, and I got links back to my website for that. And these are printed magazines, but they also have online versions. That gave me more, it made me more recognized in the appraisal industry, that I was being talked more about. People were thanking me for my information, and I was getting more orders. And then in the shopping cart that I originally set up to purchase my book, there's an affiliate program already built into it. And most shopping carts have this feature. If not, and we'll cover that at some point as well. So I started contacting print magazines, online magazines, anyone that had a list of real estate appraisers. It could be directories, it could be people that sell supplies to appraisers, it could be for their insurance, software that they have to use. I just started contacting all of them and saying, would you be interested in promoting this product? And I didn't do it via email, because you'll never get a response that way. I picked up the phone and called them and spoke to whoever was in charge of doing those type of advertising. And at first I'd talk to them and say, I'm just interested in buying an email blast. Can you email this message out to all your appraisers? How much is it going to cost me? And they would tell me. And as I received more and more sales and I had data that I could back up, I could say, okay, well, usually with every email blast to around 10,000 appraisers, it seems to generate around $2,000 worth of income. And we could split that 50-50 if you're interested. You could do more email blasts. You could do them twice a week, whatever you want. And we could split the income, or I could just buy the advertising off of you. And about 50% of all my marketing now are through the affiliate program. So it works out really good. Some of them I almost wish I could buy the email blast, but at this point they just want to do the affiliate split, whereas I would be way more profitable if I just bought the email blast off of them in the first place. So that's what I'm kind of focusing on in that area right now, is just going out, finding as many affiliates or people that have lists that I could just buy the email blast from. When I email them, they come directly to my list. I could collect their name and email, and then I could continue to market to them on a continual basis. I set up an autoresponder, so once they join the list, it's like, I call it the appraiser marketing system, because I send out a message every week with information on how to get more orders. And it's everything from the AMC guide to internet marketing, a bunch of different avenues for appraisers to get business. And what I'm saying is, you could duplicate this for anything at all. It could be a product, it could be a service, it could be something local in your area, it could be for a local company that you could be doing this for. It's really simple to get started in this area. All you need to do is create that blog and be passionate about something and offer value. I just wanted to give you a little bit more information about appraiserincome.com before we go. The AMC directory isn't the only way that I make money off of that website. It's true, it is $100 for the book, and you get the electronic version as well. But I do sell just the electronic version for $79.95. I also have affiliate products and services on the website that I make money off of. And some pages has Google AdSense, really high traffic real high traffic web pages within the blog that I don't have any products or services for. I'll just, or much more information. I'll put up AdSense, and people could click on links, and I get a little tiny bit of revenue that way. But the main way I'm going to double the income on this website over the next 6 months is I'm creating a series of additional products. And you could do this with any industry, as I was stating. what really works well with my appraisers is just to get them more business and more customers. And that's the way it's going to be with almost any type of blog that you write, unless you're focusing on a product, or on those product ones or the hobbies. You're mainly going to be focusing a lot on information, and then they could buy guides if they need them on how to modify something, buy maps of certain locations, how-to guides. There's a lot of different products that you could create for your customer base, but probably you're going to make the majority of your money through affiliate programs selling products, or you're going to purchase those products yourself and resell them, or you're going to get products made somewhere and sell them. So there's a huge variety of ways that you could make money off of your blog. Off of this, I already have a link to another website that I've made called Appraiser Websites. I just throw up some quick blogs for appraisers with it's a WordPress blog with like 5 pages. It's a static. It's actually not a blog. It's a static website using WordPress. It has basic things like the order page information, services, service area, about page, contact page, and their home page. And I optimize it easily with an optimizer plugin built into WordPress or added to WordPress, and I bring in a residual income that way. It's the websites originally were $29.95 a month, and I just got tired of hassling with expired credit card numbers and staying up on top of people that didn't pay their bills on time. So I just made it a flat $260 a year, and that's pretty cheap, and it's to a point where it's really not worth my time to create those types of websites. But I do love the appraisal industry so much, and I really appreciate the people that have helped me, and I really like to help people in general. So for $260 a year, I'll build an appraiser website and get them orders. So I really am trying to show people that are interested in how powerful the internet could be if used properly, that I'm willing to take a pay cut to show these people, and whatever you put out there adds value. Even if you're practically giving stuff away, it's going to come back to you one way or another. It just always does. And so that's kind of the mentality that I work by. But in addition to the appraiser websites, I have a new quick report. It's only $25 for telling people how to get the most out of working with the appraisal management companies, and how to negotiate with them, what to do when problems arise. It's a pretty big report. It's about 25 to 30 pages. It just is filled with information that most appraisers just would never think of or consider. One big consideration that I found is that if I turn down all that lower paying work where they're trying to get an appraiser to go out, do an appraisal for 50% or 25% of an appraisal fee, if you accepted all those and worked your butt off, you might make a certain amount of money. I have found that if I counter offer every single one of those orders and tell them, look, based on complexity, I can't do it for that much, but I could do it for this much, and I could have it back to you by this date, I double my income doing that and work probably a quarter as much. So it's simple math, but most appraisers are not willing to take that risk. They're going to say, okay, I could be guaranteed to get the work right now today for this amount, versus counter-offering all those orders and saying, no, I can't do it for that much, but I'll do it for this. And it's cut and dry. You make twice as much by counter-offering, and you do a lot less work. So, there's just for that one little piece of information, it's golden for appraisers. I don't see how anyone would ever complain for a $25 product that gives you that type of negative information. But I'm also creating additional guides on internet marketing, website optimization. There's a bunch of packages that I'm making that are related to appraiser software, whereas I'm not an expert in using that software, but I do know a fair amount of shortcuts, ways to speed up the time that you spend creating the appraisal report, and that's invaluable. So there's a ton of products as well as additional website services where I'll optimize their website for like $1,000, or and to an appraiser that's only a few orders, and if you're able to get twice as many orders a month, it pays for itself in a month or two. So it's good investments. Everything that I offer adds value, and so appraisers are usually willing to purchase them. If any appraiser has a problem with what I sold them, I give their money back. No questions asked. I put it all over my website, throw my phone number up. People trust me, and they really believe that I'm an expert in the area, because I do feel like I am an expert, especially when it comes down to appraisal company marketing. So you could offer your clients marketing services. There's just so many different things that you could do. So that's pretty much it for this episode. I think the next one, we're just going to start getting into doing the screen captures, and maybe starting with the next episode, maybe I'll just give you a quick run through my website, capturing the screen, showing you how I monetize this website right now. And in the meantime, if you could go to yourbossblows.com, make sure that you sign up to the newsletter so you can get that quick start guide and any type of transcripts of the previous shows. Plus, I let you know when a new show has been posted. And if you could go to iTunes, this is really going to help me out, and rate me in there and make a comment. My shows aren't 100% up to speed yet. I'm new to doing all this video, but I'm getting there. I just gotta keep on focusing and keep on making the content and delivering it to you. And just what you might want to do between now and the next show, if you're not watching this right after the next, is just write down, brainstorm for a little while. That's why I wrote this here. Brainstorm, come up with a list of 10 or 20 different things that you feel like you have a passion about, or that you're interested, that you do talk to your friends about frequently, that you feel like you have a lot of knowledge about, or you'd like to have a lot of knowledge about. So a lot of people out there that don't know anything about a topic or a place or a type of food or a service, but they really want to learn. So they're willing to publish all the information that they've learned. Like if you want to go to Tahiti super bad, and you're doing all this research on Tahiti, everything you possibly could find out about it, and you post that on a blog, I'm sure you could monetize that with some plane ticket deals, cruises, books, equipment that you might need for travel. There's tons of ways that you can monetize that. You could even make a guide where you tell them all that hidden things in Tahiti, or the really cool clubs, or the real stuff that someone visiting Tahiti for their first time might want to know about. So there's tons of different ways to monetize it. The main thing is to find something that you'll be able to give value to the listener or to the person reading your blog. Yeah, that's another thing, is that doing videos and podcasts kick butt. If you could work that into whatever your plan is on making money on the internet, if you could incorporate podcasting and video right from the very beginning, you'll be doing so much better than all the other affiliate marketers. Just when I added a short little video to the front of this blog, my orders increased by 25% from off the website. So it was just like a really short little video. I'll play it for you on the next show. And it just really brought sales in. I also do a podcast called the Busy Appraiser Podcast, if you want to listen to it on iTunes. It's really amateurish. I do it with a headset on in my car, and I just talk to people about the appraisal industry and my products and services and appraiser marketing and all that type of stuff. But that brings in a ton of traffic. If you post your podcasts or videos across the internet to all the different video and podcast sharing websites, you'll be flooded with traffic right from the very beginning. So you should probably try to incorporate that into your ideas, but that's going to come up, later on down the line. So stay focused. Let's brainstorm this week. Try to come up with some good ideas. Think of something that you'd be interested about blogging or doing a podcast or a video cast about frequently. Because if you sputter out like 99% of the people do after the first month or two, it's just going to turn up being kind of like a waste of time. It won't be a complete waste because you'll gain valuable experience, and you'll say, okay, I really like doing that as a hobby, but I don't necessarily like blogging about my fascination with RC cars or something. That will happen sometimes, and but it is the next step. That was maybe your first failure. You'll figure it out as time goes along. And if you're getting to the point of purchasing a domain name, then you should download that Market Samurai trial. You can get that link off of my website at yourbossblows.com. And let's see, sign up to the newsletter. Already covered that. And rate me on iTunes. Already covered that. So I really appreciate you watching my shows, and I hope you're getting a lot out of it. I know it's been a lot of just talk so far. I'm really trying to give you my background and the different ways that I'm making money. I could easily make the appraiser income a full-time living. I don't need to necessarily do appraisals full-time at this point because of the income that I'm generating now off this one blog. And then combined with my other streams of income, I don't have to be a full-time appraiser, so it gives me the ability to pick and choose which type of orders that I want to do. And lately it's been beachfront mansions overlooking the Pacific Ocean, and those pay very well compared to the standard appraisal. So if you are employed in that type of business where you're able to pick and choose, cherry pick the best work, supplementing your income through making money online, it will be a huge benefit to your company. It will take the stress off of you, and you'll still be able to do what you love, which I love appraising, and I can't imagine ever stopping. So until next time, just get out there and do it. Well, I hope you really enjoyed that episode. I've been receiving a lot of really good comments and questions off of my website about how to earn money. So what I'd like you to do, if you're interested, is send me an email. Any questions, comments, and I will be answering any type of questions and answering the comments in my upcoming shows. So just visit the website here, submit your information, and I'm going to be answering those for you. Another great thing is a lot of people have been going into iTunes and rating my show in there. I'm not sure if you're watching it on iTunes or YouTube or Roku, but in iTunes, you just log in, give me a 5-star rating, or is it 5 stars or is it 3? I'm not sure. Find out. Just go there and rate my show and put in a comment there. That really helps me out get more exposure and able to bring more shows to you. Same thing with Roku. Just go to the title screen for the show, rate me in there, and that just brings in more viewers. So I really appreciate that. Really helps me out a lot. And if you're looking for that WordPress hosting, want to get a WordPress website up instantly, go to mybluehosting.com, send me the information if you'd like, and I'll install your WordPress blog for you. So thanks again for spending your time with me, and until next time, just do it.